I'm going to tell you how one night priced my dignity at $10, and how a stranger 2 tables away refused to let that be the receipt for my life. If you've ever swallowed a comeback because the bill looked bigger than your courage, you know what I mean? The rain had just rinsed Chicago clean when I walked out in a thrift store dress that fit on the good side of all right, a coat with one stubborn button and $10 in my wallet. Not backup cash, all of it. My best friend Jazz hyped me like lip gloss could change a tax bracket. The blind date was at Copper Finch. Gold, light, marble, everything. The kind of place that charges you rent for breathing. And the hostess said my name like it had a blue check then. He stood up, Trevor camel blazer, Jim smile, flashy. Watch the kind of guy who thinks eye contact is foreplay. Still or sparkling Ava, he asked. Elbows on linen like he owned cotton. Still is good, I said, because pride doesn't carbonate. I opened the menu and did the math in my head. The Caesar salad was half my rent. So I set it down before the prices gave me vertigo, he called. What I do casework, like it was contagious, I said. Housing advocacy, and told him, we help families find a bed after the worst day of their lives. He nodded, but his interest had already turned back toward his reflection. Real estate plays, Amazon stores, crypto. When the vibes are right, he said vibes like it had a trademark, appetizers landed. He didn't thank the server, he did lean in, like he had a secret shaped like a hook. I don't do drama, I do clarity, he said. I invest in a woman. She returns value, travel bills handled, lifestyle aligned, no dead weight. You get me? And I said, I think I do, and meant it in the worst way. Then he smiled. Like a blade. I'm married, don't panic. It's an arrangement. No more kids, but I want one. Surrogates are messy. I need someone discreet, loyal, a partnership. You're cute and grounded, and you don't cost high maintenance. I sat very still, the way you sit when a hornet lands on your knee. Let me be clear, I said, because clarity belongs to me too. I'm not auditioning to be anybody's mistress, and my body is not a business plan. His smile slipped like a mask with a loose elastic. He raised his voice just enough to bend the room. You're turning down an opportunity most women would jump at. A woman like you, and the heat crawled up my neck, because if you've ever been reduced to a category, you know exactly where shame lives. He looked me over like he'd found a scratch on a rental, pulled a single 10 from his wallet, tossed it onto the linen. There's your refund that should cover your water. Maybe, and walked out like he'd won a prize. Yeah, that happened. I didn't cry, not then. I went. Still, I stared at that 10 like it was evidence. With Andrew Jackson's face, the waiter hovered helpless. I was running the numbers of dignity versus check when a calm voice entered the scene like a hand catching a glass, mid-fall. May I join you for a moment? He asked, mid to late 30s. Deep brown skin, charcoal suit that didn't brag, eyes that didn't flinch. He'd been sitting 2 tables behind me and seen all of it. I'm not looking for whatever that was, I said, my voice rough with humiliation's gravel. He smiled. The kind you offer, not the kind you sell, raised a hand, and the waiter finally exhaled. Please put her check with mine and bring a fresh napkin. Thank you. Then he slid a small black card across the table. No title, no logo, just a name in silver. I'm Ellis Crane, call me tomorrow, not because you owe me, because I have something you might want to see. Are you trying to date me? I asked. Because ambiguity and poverty don't mix. He said, I'm trying to invest in you. He stood, left a tip that looked like mercy, and disappeared with the quiet gravity of someone who doesn't need to be seen to be present at home. The radiator rattled. My kid brother, Malik, breathed soft on the pullout. I put the 10 on the counter, like Exhibit A, Ellis's card next to it, like a counterclaim. in the morning. I Googled him because Accountability Lives Online, founder of North Star Labs, sold a company, built youth labs and scholarships, grew up in Gary, raised by a mom who worked nights, numbers next to his name that didn't fit. In my head, I didn't call pride is funny like that. It will starve you to avoid saying thank you. Then my supervisor pulled me into our closet office to smile through bad news. Funding cuts, hours reduced, maybe layoffs. And I walked out into the sun, sat on a park bench, across from an ad for a building I couldn't afford to tour, took out the card, and hit call before courage checked my wallet. "This is Ellis," he said, voice like a low piano note. "It's Ava," I said, "from last night. I'm glad you called," he said, like I'd just returned a missing piece. "Are you free tomorrow at 9? I want to show you where I spend my oxygen." "That's a strange way to say office," I said, and he laughed. "I'll send a driver," he added, "no limos, no strings." Ray picked me up in a clean SUV, handed me coffee, like a friend, and silence, like respect. We drove to an old industrial block where brick smells like history and new paint. The building wore a mural of kids and gears and lightning bolts across the top. "Build what you needed." Inside was light and hum, whiteboards packed with handwriting, 3D printers chirping, young people leaning over big tables with eyes on fire. It felt like stepping inside a second chance. Ellis found me beside a robot arm and nodded like he'd predicted the spot. "Welcome to North Star. We train, incubate, fund, and hire leaders who remember what the bottom felt like." "Leaders like me?" I asked, voice tilting on the last word. "Potential doesn't ask permission," he said. "I watched you hold your dignity when someone tried to use it as a coaster. I know what that costs. I also know what it's worth." He handed me a thin folder. 3 months paid operations and project management, leadership training, mentors, a cohort, possible full-time. If I earned it at the bottom. A handwritten "Dare show up," that's all I ask. I took it home and stared at it 2 days like it might burst into flames. If I opened it, a lot of us aren't scared of failing. We're scared of being seen. What if they find out I'm held together with safety pins and stubbornness? What if I actually fit? I called Thursday. "I'm in," I said. Monday, he said, "dress comfortable. Bring your questions. Cohort, day 1. 10 of us, a woman in her 40s with a voice like gospel, a kid with prison ink and careful eyes, a college grad throwing frameworks like confetti. Tasha ran it with surgeon, calm. "We're not here to make you comfortable," she said. "We're here to make you effective. Comfort is at the corner deli." We learned systems and flow, sat in meetings where decisions were made in 4 sentences, practiced, saying, "I don't know yet. I'll find out," without apology at night. I watched tutorials until the screen blinked. First week 4, one-on-one with Ellis. His office was glass and books and a fiddle leaf fig that looked like it had a retirement account. "You've adjusted faster than the schedule predicted," he said. "Not luck, I'm trying," I said, "because compliments make me itchy." "You're leading," he said. "I want you to pitch a project by the end, not a report. Strategy and flow, own it, be the room." My throat did a small mutiny, but I nodded. I chose a problem I knew in my bones: shelter intake that breaks people before it helps them. Built a cross-functional pilot to simplify digital onboarding for low-income families. Plain language, mobile first, real translations, a pause button for when the baby wakes. I interviewed caseworkers in their break rooms, and moms on the red line sketched flows until my apartment looked like a crime board. My first peer review went poorly. Which is to say, honestly, I stood in front of the feedback and did not die. Rewired. Returned clean. Pitch day. Arrived like weather. 25 decision makers, cold water, hot eyes. Tasha to the side like a ref who cares. Ellis at the far end, quiet, present, giving me nothing but attention. I didn't open with a chart. I opened with Lila. A mother on 7% battery, trying to request a bed with a toddler on her hip. Then I showed them what we built. It wasn't slick. It was humane. The questions came fast. I answered what I knew, admitted what I didn't. Made it clear what I'd own by Friday. The silence at the end felt heavy with decision. 2 days later, the subject line said, "Offer implementation, lead Q1 launch compensation." That made my chest warm. I laughed. Sitting on the kitchen floor with a wooden spoon, not loud. Relief, 2 years turned like pages. Malik got a scholarship and a haircut that made him taller. The pilot became policy. We shipped updates in neighborhoods I grew up in and counties I used to avoid. Then the gala. Women in Innovation, hosted by North Star at Copper Finch, of all places. The room draped in velvet and lilies, strings sighing in the corner. People who once wouldn't have seen me now, nodding like we shared a last name. I found Ellis in a midnight suit and thanked him without making it a debt. Then I saw Trevor near the bar, same jaw, less shine, blazer, not quite right. Rumors had traveled. Businesses sagged, marriage popped like a bubble. He looked at me and recognition crawled across his face, followed by shame. I nodded, not mean, not soft. A period at the end of a sentence I didn't need to reread. "You ready?" Ellis asked, flicking my collar like a brother. "I think so," I said, breath steady. "You did the work," he said. I just held the door. The mic felt steady in my hand. I told the room about the night. Humiliation got loud, and how I walked out with $10 and my dignity folded in my coat like a napkin. That wasn't an ending. Just the world clearing its throat for a beginning. I said value isn't defined by volume or price. Leadership isn't shouting, it's direction. We built a product for the people. Forms forget, and when you build for them, strangely, everybody else gets helped too. People stood. Tasha clapped once, which is basically a parade. We toasted with ginger ale and called it champagne. Somewhere behind us, Trevor stared into his glass like it had answers. I didn't need an apology to close my ceremony. Here's the twist people argue about. Did I need a billionaire to get here? No, I needed a door. He had one, he opened it. I did the walking. We can talk systems, saviors, charity with halos, we should. But here's what I know. Power can humiliate quietly, and it can lift quietly too. What matters is who you become when the volume changes. I keep that wrinkled 10 in a frame on my desk, not as a grudge, as a gauge whenever applause tries to tell me I belong. I look at that ugly little rectangle and remember. Belonging is decided in the moments. Nobody claps. If this hit something true, drop a comment. Would you have confronted Trevor? Does he deserve a second chance? Is Ellis a hero? Or just a man doing what more people with power should do? Tell me where you stand on money, mercy, and quiet cruelty. In fancy rooms, share it with someone who's won $10 insult, away from a beginning, and hit subscribe if you're ready for more real stories told plain.